Hello, thank you for being in a new video. This time let me share with you the Nothing Air Open review. Let's get started. Oh, these headphones, as the name suggests, have an open format. It means that they won't have an ear cushion that goes all the way into your ear, and that allows you to be a little more aware of the outside world. And above all, it avoids a bouncing effect that is generated with other headphones when you are walking naturally through physics. So, they are part of a very interesting proposal for those who generally do not enjoy having headphones completely inserted in their ear, but want to maintain a good sound experience. But before going into more details, let me share with you their price. In Mexico, its launch price has been 2,899 pesos. On the screen, you see the reference price in dollars, although you know that the price can vary a lot over time or in store promotions and many other factors, but that is its reference price. Now that we know this, let's talk about the design. Nothing is a manufacturer that has traditionally used transparencies, and this will be no exception, but that is not the most curious thing about this case. The most curious thing will be that they go for a much more elongated format than traditional, which also in turn generates a thinner format in the case. So it is very curious. On the back, we will find the USB-C port to charge them, because in this case they do not have wireless charging, and possibly that is one of its main weaknesses or something that is undoubtedly considered a disadvantage. This case has a small indentation in the part of the lid to hold it more easily. Simply a curious detail that of course is appreciated. When we uncover the headphones, we will find this small LED indicator that will serve us somehow to know the status of the headphones, although it is a simple LED. And as you can also notice, in this internal part, we will find a button to easily link these headphones to other devices. I would have liked to see the button on the outside a bit more, but that's just a fun fact. The case weighs in at 63.8 grams. It's quite light, though how comfortable it is might depend on the individual user. If you are used to carrying traditional case headphones, you will feel that it is a much more elongated case, but the fact that it is thinner also allows for comfortable carrying. However, I do think they are headphones that are much larger than normal as far as fully wireless headphones go. But before I talk about the headphones, let me show you that in this case the cap is of good quality, and note that even though they have a bit of magnetic absorption, actually the tips that the headband of these headphones have don't have that magnetic absorption, so it might generate a bit of an odd bounce. However, the headphones could also fall out if you use a lot of force. That's just a fun fact, because it's unlikely that you'll do either of those actions, but I'm telling you this so you're always making sure you have the case completely closed. Now let's talk about the headphones, which as you can see have a red and a white indicator instead of the traditional L and R to distinguish left and right. So there we see a little bit of a distinctive feature. As you can see, the headset has a small headband that will make it very easy to put on. And also in the headset we see designs with transparencies, as I anticipated you that it is a manufacturer that prioritizes the use of this resource to make their designs more attractive. Even in the pins of the internal part we see a silver color instead of a gold color that other manufacturers usually use. So the design is one of the strongest points. They are very attractive headphones, not only for its aesthetics but also the bet to make them in this way. It means that they do not get in the way inside your ear and give you a much more pleasant sensation and a better grip. For example, note that placing the headphones is relatively simple, but here the best of all is that this small headband will also help. These headphones are not falling at any time. You can even go running and the headphones will always remain close to you. But as I say, what is most striking about these headphones and their open design is that they still allow you to be in contact with the outside world. They don't isolate you completely. These are headphones that are obviously not going to have noise cancellation, because that's not their primary focus. I think they are very comfortable headphones to be working with. They weigh 8.1 grams each. I think I have not felt them uncomfortable. I have been using them when walking and similar things, and the truth is that they are very comfortable headphones. They have an IP54 level of water resistance, which means that you can use them while exercising if you get a little bit wet, or if you are in the rain, crying, listening to a sad song. Well, you better not do that. But they do resist splashes and water in general terms. Obviously, if they get dropped and submerged, they can break down. So remember, they're just splash resistant. And interestingly, in this case, they don't incorporate a sensor to pause playback when you remove the headphones and resume playback when you put them back in. Although it is uncommon that you remove the headphone and put it back on, because as I say, in this case, if someone comes to talk to you, you will hear it. In any case, what I would do would be to pause your content. So, it doesn't seem to me a very relevant absence, but you should know that because other headphones do integrate this type of sensors. And if you misplace any of these headphones through your application, there is an option to make it sound and try to find them. In this case, it doesn't show its location on a map or anything like that, but I think it's a good option if you happen to drop it under the couch or something similar. Now let's talk about the controls. In this case, we're going to find a touch surface that responds to pinching, so to speak. These are not simple touches, but you have to press, and the surface is very easy to find, so the learning curve will be short. You should also know that through the application, you can customize the controls that you are going to have independently on the left earphone and on the right earphone, which is positive. The one-touch gesture is not customizable because it will serve to play or pause the content, or if there is an incoming call, it will serve to answer the call, and if you have already answered the call, it also serves to end the call. With 2 taps by default, we will go to the next song, or we will reject the call in case there is an incoming call. However, as I say, through the app, you can customize it to go to the previous song, to call the artificial intelligence by voice, which could be Google Assistant, or it could be if you're using a cell phone. You could also access the News Informer, which is only available if you use a cell phone. So as you can see, I'm already giving you 2 options that are quite innovative, but are only available when linked to a cell phone of the same brand. With 3 taps, you will go to the previous song, but you can also change it for one of the actions I told you about a moment ago. And in this case, despite not supporting swipe gestures for volume control, fortunately, you can access to modify this parameter if you double tap and hold. It's not as practical or as easy to do, but at least there is an option to lower or raise the volume to your liking, depending on how you configure it. Although by default, this action is disabled. So, I think the range of control options we have here is wide enough. Although I would have liked to see some sliding gesture to control the volume more easily, considering that we are not talking about a very economical headphones. Let's talk now about the sound quality. It is one of the aspects that I really liked and surprised me because they are headphones that will give us a good presence of bass frequencies. Something a little difficult to find in open headphones because generally closed headphones have some help from the earpads and insulation so that you hear more defined bass frequencies, but in open headphones it is usually something much more difficult. However, in this case they integrate a 14.2mm driver. So it's quite big, and that's why it's able to generate good bass frequencies. Good quality audio is perceived. Without a doubt, this driver has a titanium coating according to Notting's official information, and it is really going to give us a clear sound accompanied very well by these bass frequencies and mid frequencies that do not bother. The manufacturer does not share the range of frequencies it is capable of emitting, but the truth is that without going to the very technical information, they are headphones that sound good. If you have a Nothing or CMF by Nothing cell phone, the settings and all the options and configuration of these headphones will be fully integrated in the Bluetooth settings of the headphones, so there is no need to install the application, although you can do it too. In these settings and in the app, we're going to get equalization options. So in the simple settings, let's say there are some settings where you can choose whether you want a balanced sound setting, more bass, more treble, or give emphasis to the voice. However, you can also access a custom setting, although let's say it would only be a 3-band equalizer, so to speak, because it lets you just customize bass, mid, and treble. But there is also the advanced EQ control available, where an 8-band EQ is available for you to specifically customize the sound. I don't find it necessary from my point of view because they sound very good as they come from the factory, but I always like that this equalizer is available to suit everyone's tastes. Regarding audio codecs, we are not going to find such advanced things. I think the price is disappointing because they only support SBC and AAC, which are, let's say, simple codecs. They don't have wireless high-resolution audio, although personally I will tell you that most people won't notice the difference between listening to traditional audio and high-resolution audio. Because to really enjoy high-resolution audio, you also need to pay for some music subscription service in this quality. So, for a more conventional user, if you don't have a high-resolution music subscription service, you will enjoy a good experience. The sound is of good quality, it is perceived as clear, but you should know that it does not have this index. In fact, it does not have some other functions such as spatial audio or noise cancellation that I mentioned before. So they are a little more limited in some things, but I think it's because of the same approach they have of having this open design. Now let's talk a little bit about the microphones, since in this case each earphone integrates 2 microphones. So we have 4 in total. They have a feature called Clear Voice AI, which is going to allow you to cancel out the noise that's going on around you so that in your calls you're heard with good clarity. Let's do a test. First, I want us to turn on the ambient audio and listen to the noise that I'm going to play to test this. It is a noisy enough environment. Now let's listen to the audio recorded with the headphones.
Esta es una prueba de audio grabada con los Nothing Air Open para notar su cancelación de ruido.
I think they managed to control the ambient noise well, so they're going to hear you well on calls. Now, let's talk about the battery. For starters, you should know that both in the app and in the Nothing and CMF cell phone settings, you can take a look at the current battery status of each earphone and case. In that sense, the experience is very complete. And since they don't have noise cancellation, there aren't that many numbers to share. So the manufacturer promises 8 hours of playback without considering the case and 30 hours considering the case. So I think they could perfectly hold up to your entire work routine if you want to be constantly listening to music while doing some other activity. For calls, they can give you about 6 hours of talk time or 24 hours considering the case, but you know that these figures can always vary depending entirely on your music and even how loud you listen to the music, but this is more or less the reference figures. Overall, I think they will be very well-behaved headphones. Just a reminder here that they don't have wireless charging, so it's not as convenient in that sense to just pop them on your dock when you get home or something similar, but I think they don't come close to disappointing too much. However, at this price point, I think there are plenty of other headphones that do incorporate wireless charging. Finally, let's talk about the connection, since in this case they incorporate Bluetooth 5.3. So they have recent technology to have good range and good stability. I think there's nothing to be disappointed about there. Fortunately, they also have Microsoft Swift Pair, so you can quickly pair the headphones to a Windows laptop, so when you open the case, you get this little dialog box to quickly pair. The same thing will happen on Android with Google Fast Pair, so just open the case, and any sufficiently recent Android device is going to detect them for easy pairing. Obviously, you can also pair them to an iPhone, Mac, or other device. You'll just have to go through the manual process of accessing the list of devices. In fact, they can be linked to 2 devices at the same time. It can be your cell phone and your computer, for example, so that in case you are working and listening to music and a call comes in on your cell phone, it can make the immediate change without you having to intervene. Finally, let's do the latency test, since Nothing promises a latency of less than 120 milliseconds, although it is not such an attractive figure for gamers, but let's give it a try. In this case, I tested with a Galaxy Z Fold 6 and the latency is abysmal. Without low latency mode enabled, it exceeds 400 milliseconds. With low latency mode enabled, it is reduced by between 200 or 300 milliseconds, but it is still a lot of latency. Let's try it now with a Nothing cell phone, which is the one we should have the best experience with. And well, in this case, even with nothing cell phone, it didn't improve much. It does seem to have cut the latency a bit, but it's still pretty high. These are not recommended headphones if you want to play games. With that, we have come to the end of this video. I hope you liked it and got to know more details about these headphones. If you liked it, you know you can let us know, and we'll see you next time.